Cultivating Authentic Universal Energy podcast. Join us, Lisa Miliaresis and Michele Belcastro, as we dive into the vibrant world of energy, intuition, and spirit. Our journey through mediumship, psychic insights, Reiki, and the magic of crystals is not just about exploring the unseen. It's about connecting deeply with the universe and ourselves. Lisa is a seasoned medium and author, and she brings the wisdom of her books, being light-driven and spiritual guidance, trusting the voice within, to life. She teaches us to embrace our intuition safely and joyfully. Michele, a sensitive intuitive, and the soul behind the Violet Butterfly Metaphysical Healing Center, shares her journey from her spiritual awakening to creating a sanctuary for others to discover and nurture their spiritual gifts. Together, we're more than just co-hosts. We're guides on this adventure into universal energy, sharing our experiences and the transformative power it holds. We are thrilled to invite you to our first ever CARE retreat in Safety Harbor, Florida, this April from the 19th to the 21st. If you'd like to dive deeper with us, you can visit Lisa at tocommunicate.net and Michele at thevioletbutterflymhc.com. Let's embrace the energy together.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm just pushing buttons over here.
Awesome. Okay, so that was a little bit of a fib. I'm not doing great. I'm not doing fine, but I'm putting on a brave face. How about that?
That's honest.
We'll call it that.
Okay, that works.
Well,
and that's always the big question. Like when I used to work in the public, and they would say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" You really don't want to know, and half the time you shouldn't say that. That's a leading question.
Right? It's
Just say
really
hi.
funny yes, it's funny that you say that, because when the shop was open, I got to the point where I just greeted people like good morning, good afternoon, whatever, and I stopped asking that question because I would get emotionally vomited on.
Yeah, that would happen to us in the restaurant when we had that.
Yeah.
And
So
at that time, many years ago, I was intuitive and picking up things and not knowing where to put them. And then I'd have that happen. I'm like, oh no. Oh, hell no, that's not happening.
Yep. So you just keep it with a hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and leave it at that. How can I help you today?
Light and bright. Even that's leading.
Right. Because you never know what's going to come out. What can I get for you today?
Right. So we, as usual, had conversation before we hit record, right?
Always. Would you like to share that card that you pulled?
Yes. So just to, as was leading into the card, we were talking a little bit about individual energy as well as conscious energy for the global. And I picked a card before we start for everybody just to see what it would come out. And this deck is the Namaste deck. I've used it before on the podcast. I love it. It has a picture of Ganesh on the front, and it has little blessing cards. So we think inside. So what it says is a blessing in relationship. A current relationship is reflecting something that is wounded inside you, a wound from long ago, perhaps even from a past life. Look within, find the part of you that is wounded, and send it love. All will heal, and you will be stronger and wiser for it. So, and it has a beautiful picture of a tree crisscross on the front of it.
Cool. So that started our conversation on shadow work, your favorite term.
Yeah.
You know what? Your reaction is so priceless to that label that I could tease you for hours using that.
Yes, you could. Well, it doesn't help that when I was younger, I was afraid of the shadows in my room.
Sure. Yep. Well, and you know what? That's probably a very valid point. That as we grow up and there are things that we are afraid of. I remember being so afraid of the dark under my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought that there was some kind of crazy monster that was going to grab me and eat me, and no one would ever see me again. The fear was insane. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's where it starts, the fear, because I was afraid of the dark as well. I used to see things all the time in my room,
Mhm.
and that was also a little older. I don't remember the age, but I would say, "Go to the closet." I'd tell them to go to the closet, and they did. So I kind of realized I had a little power there, which was helpful, in not being as afraid. But I too was very afraid of the dark, and even to this day, I sleep with the light on. Not that I'm afraid now, but I do like to sleep with the light on. Made a
just
pattern.
just a habit, right? So
Yeah.
I was out of town this weekend. I went to a massage class, and when I go out of town and I stay in a hotel room, I do leave some kind of light on, even if it's like the bathroom light, just cracked enough so that if I wake up in the middle of the night, I kind of know where I'm at.
And stop looking for the cat.
Yeah, well, okay, I know this is going to totally get off base of what we had planned on talking about, but I noticed this weekend I was hearing a lot of things that were not physically like in my surrounding area. Um, I
Okay.
will,
So you were channeling sounds?
yeah, totally. And the first time it surprised me so much, I didn't even ask what it was about. You know that sound when someone packs their pack of cigarettes? They're
Yeah.
doing this with their cigarettes.
Yeah. They
I
pound
woke,
them.
yes, I woke up in the middle of the night, Friday to Saturday, hearing that. Like, they woke me up 3 times hearing that.
So let me ask you this question. Didn't you clean the room when you came in? Like vibrationally clean it, not clean it physically?
You know what? I can't say that I intentionally did. I was so tired
I
when I
think,
got there that
right.
I did not.
I do it all. I always do it. I mean, I almost always do it. I'm sure I've messed up a couple of times, but you were the one who told me, "Oh, take a Florida water." Remember when I
Yep,
was going out and I couldn't use sage or things like
yep,
that because I couldn't burn them?
yep,
So, I mean, that's a prime example. If you clean the space, because it's sure there's people in and out of there, energy lingering in there. That'll just
of
add to
course.
your exhaustion.
Yeah. Well, it was
Yeah.
super interesting that I heard that, and the fact that the rooms were very quiet as far as hearing outside noises. Like, you didn't hear people walking down the
Sure.
hallway, you didn't hear people in the rooms next door. You might hear a door open and close, but that was it. You didn't hear TVs, you didn't hear pounding noises. So
Mm-hmm.
that happened Friday night into Saturday morning. And then I get done with the class. I'm really tired. I'm jazzed up. I just had dinner with some friends, and I'm sitting in my hotel room, and I know you and I have talked about this before, but when there is like there are fans or vibrations, I hear music a lot. And a lot
Okay.
of times that music is like orchestral music. So I have this background in music. I studied music when I was younger. And so it doesn't surprise me that I get communications via music. But Saturday, it was like flapper music, like 20s. It was so cool. I literally just sat there and listened to it. I think
So
there,
you enjoyed your little party in your head.
I totally did. I totally did. Yeah.
Well, that's a blessing. That's a blessing amongst the exhaustion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And do you think possibly your guides were helping you to put a little levity into things?
Yeah. Yeah. I because I felt oddly soothed by being able to just sit and listen to music.
Mhm.
It wasn't
Yeah.
overwhelming, it wasn't overstimulating. It was just awesome. Yeah.
Good. Well, that's a good thing.
So,
That's the type of work I like when they bring you something fun and positive.
Yeah, because I find a lot of times it tends to be something that challenges me just a little bit, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what helps me grow, right?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about to help us grow.
Mm-hmm. So on
How
that
we
note,
find, go ahead.
nope, go
Yes, go
ahead.
ahead.
On that note, back to the topic at hand of the work we don't like to do, right? The
Oh, the shadow work.
you said it.
Yeah, only the shadow knows for sure, right? Well,
I
the card that we read in the beginning is talking about relationships with yourself, relationships with others. And sometimes there are things that keep having repetitive patterns that make a trigger, if you will. I think there's um, different teachers have different names for it. Like Brian Weiss calls them, I think, pain bodies, or either him or Eckhart Tolle, one or the other. They call them pain bodies, where they just relive it, the same pattern over and over again. Somebody will say something, it will trigger that emotion within you, and you have that same argument over and over and over again. So individually, we can see it happening in certain relationships. And collectively, we can see it happening in different institutions as they talk to each other in government, even in the school systems here in Florida, how they have the same conversations. And there's like, they say one thing, we say another. It's the same thing over and over and over again. However, within this card, it's saying something. It says, a current relationship is reflecting something that is wounded inside you, a wound from long ago. So this may not even be our wound. It says perhaps even from a past life or from generations before where it started, but we're here for a reason and perhaps to clean it. Look within, find the part of you that is wounded from this conversation or from this conflict, and send it love. All
Mhm.
will heal and you will be stronger and wiser for it. I love this message. I love this card. I agree with it. To me, it resonates whether we're talking about the shadow or we're talking about Ho'oponopono, which is something that I do and I appreciate and I use quite frequently. I think they're talking about the same thing, maybe a different way of doing it or a different perspective of looking at it. But again, it's the same thing of releasing something that's within you with love and letting it release. Now, if you're just tuning in for the first time, I said Ho'oponopono, you might be saying, what the heck is Ho'oponopono? It's a problem solving technique. It's Hawaiian. It's done through a mantra. The mantra is I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me and thank you. And someone may be saying, well, if I say these words, what does that mean and what does that do? In my opinion, there's two thought processes with it. One is that whatever's in our experience, maybe ours, maybe someone else's, but we're experiencing it. It's our responsibility to clean it because we're experiencing it. The other thought process is that the divine is in each and every one of us. So when you say, I love you, you're really giving yourself love about what you're experiencing, about the situation. I'm sorry for whatever I've done knowingly or unknowingly to bring this into my experience. Please forgive me to the divine, like a petition to release it. And thank you because it's done. So if you say those words by themselves, they kind of feel good, like almost like a little space would happen in your heart. If you're frustrated and you're angry and you're upset with something, you kind of say them. Personally, I have a little giggle in my head when I say them initially because I'm like, what am I doing? But I keep doing it. And then I find a little peace resides within me. Now, to me, it doesn't matter what's actually happening. It's helping me, and it's helping my clients for so many years. And it's something that it's a practice that resonates with me, and that's why I share it. Now, someone else may say they want to do the shadow work, so that could be something else, a different practice, a different perspective, another label. It's just I can't do that label, but I can do the Ho'oponopono. So that's just another way of looking at it, I think.
I think so too, Lisa. And my perspective on this is shadow work is, where things bubble up and we notice that we don't like something or it doesn't feel good. And shining a little bit of light on whatever that is to recognize it and then work to heal it. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be something super crazy. It can be something as simple as, wow, I didn't like the way I just reacted. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
did I just react like that? Did I feel threatened? Was it my ego going, I know better? Was I
But think
fearful?
about that for a second. But yeah, think about that for a second. Typically, big things that they've snowballed. They started as little things, then they snowballed. So when I ask spirit how to fix it, it's usually 1 to 3 words of simplicity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and then it go from there. So I think the big things are little things like fear
Well, and usually,
that snowballed.
and it's like, okay, and we've talked about self-awareness many a times, but the sooner we can catch a behavior we don't like, the sooner we can make shifts within ourselves, which changes our outward experience. Um, you know, you can get up in kind of a crappy mood. Maybe you didn't sleep well, you skipped breakfast, you're running late, you get in the car, your drive stinks all the way to wherever you're going. All your interactions with people are going to be cranky because you're cranky and tired and rushed because your basic needs haven't been met, right? Where maybe you could rewind that scenario a little bit. Okay, I didn't have a good night's sleep. I need to take an extra 5 to 10 minutes to eat breakfast. Chill out,
Right.
have a mindful moment, whatever that means for you, whether it's meditation, mindfully eating, enjoying your coffee, come up with a slightly different perspective before you run out of the house and into your car and into the craziness that's outside. It
Because
can
it will
shift your
snowball.
day. Right.
That
Exactly.
it takes a momentum of its own. Yes.
So,
So you recognize it and you shift it. That's what they talk about with the law of attraction, to change your thoughts. You're not really, the thoughts aren't doing it. It's the emotions that are doing it. The
mhm,
thoughts just help guide the emotions.
yeah. So I
All
can say
inclusive.
like just from personal experience coming back from being out of town, I flew out, very, very early Friday morning, had a class all day on Saturday, flew home pretty early Sunday. Um, I'm tired, I'm out of balance, and that makes me emotional. Like literally, I was on the beach yesterday, almost in tears, talking to a friend because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was tired. Don't try to figure out life when you're tired.
No,
It doesn't help.
no. That's when you have to take a step back and you have to recognize that. And we don't always recognize it right away, you know,
No, we don't.
because we're in that momentum. We're in that cycle.
Yeah.
You let
You
it
know,
go before you could change the thought.
well, and sometimes it's helpful to just have someone listen, not necessarily try to change anything, fix anything, shift your mindset. Just listen because sometimes when you talk, you come up with the answer.
Well, yeah, some people, they need to have like a sounding board. Well,
Exactly.
I'm going to the cards, so
Of
that's what I
course
usually like
you
to do.
are.
And I was trying to figure out if I should go with the mystical wisdom or the angel tarot, and I ended up with mystical wisdom.
That's your go-to lately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Plus, doesn't hurt that I had like 4 decks right here at my desk. So
I've got I've got 2 different decks sitting here with 6 different cards pulled. I don't know exactly when they're coming out though.
I like my cards though. All right. So the first one I get is, and again, I picked these cards with the intention, what do we need to talk about to continue this conversation? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one I get is dream. And it says, believe in your dreams. So keep your focus. In my interpretation, is keep your focus of what you want and to really embellish and believe in those dreams. And if you're in one of those spots, you take if you can, a 5-minute power nap to reset as she's sleeping there. You see that in the picture.
Nice.
Now the second one, which is the current position, it's go with the flow. Couldn't say that any better. And it says, let things happen. You have to let them unfold. You can't control the universe. You can only do so much. So you have to just let it go, take what you can at the time, try and settle yourself the best way that you can, you know. And then this goes in corporation with how you can do that to get out of that funk, if you will, for lack of a better word. And the card is gratitude. Be grateful for all that you have, even in the present moment. Maybe, a kerfluffle with the website showed you where you could make improvements. So maybe that was a good thing that happened so you could make things better for what's coming that you don't see what it is yet. So there's things that happen that we don't have the huge picture or the perspective of what our guides know and what our so-called vortex knows. So you have to have a little faith in it, trust it, find some appreciation, whatever it may be in the current situation, and then let it move forward. So that may be a possible stream.
With your thoughts of getting into the vortex and the law of attraction and Esther and Abraham Hicks, that whole thing, that is a reflection of the first 3 cards that I pulled, that I had no idea what I was pulling. So I used a different deck, one that I don't normally use, and it is Daily Crystal Inspiration. It's an oracle deck.
Oh, nice.
And the first card that I pulled is agate, and it says get back into balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the next card is azurite, get laser focused. So what is the dream? What is the dream? Where is it that you want to be? And then aventurine, create your own luck.
Very nice. So, and here's the thing, you may not know where you want to be, but you know the feeling that you want to have when you get there.
Yep. But you have to do it from a point of balance. Tired, hungry, mad, whatever, can't do this work.
It's like an affirmation. You don't want to do it when you're not, you want to do it neutral or better.
Exactly. So find your balance, get laser focused, and create your own luck. That reminds me of a webinar I was just listening to, and people are afraid of change. And this webinar was about becoming your own PR firm. And the comment was, do 10 things to try to fail. Okay. I know that sounds super counterintuitive. 10 things, as bizarre as you can come up with, to fail. That was a challenge to people. And what really happened is that most people, because they put these bizarre requests out there, they got better than they could dream for a yes, not a no. Understand what I'm saying?
So I'm not following, because it goes against my being. So I'm not following. So when they decided to do something to fail, they countered it with something to win?
No, they had, so say you're building a business, right? You're building a business and you want to go out and do something that just seems so wildly unattainable. Most of us are afraid of no. Well, one, if you don't ask, your answer is already no. Okay, here's a perfect example. I'm a massage therapist. I was just trained in this new technique, and I want to go practice this in a high-end med spa. Okay? I
Okay.
can I can choose to be afraid and never ask. I can never approach
Okay.
anybody and the answer is no. Or I can go in and say, this is my portfolio. This is who I am. I want to work here. What are you going to offer me?
Okay. So how's that a fail though?
I I have nothing to lose. I could go in there and be like, this is trying to fail. Asking for so much that you can fail.
All right. Again, I think this is another way of saying something else, right? Because
No,
it's
no,
no.
no. Because
All
most
right,
of
go
us
ahead.
don't try to fail. Okay. We try to be safe. We try to be yes. This is pushing every boundary that you have, right? And not being afraid of failing, going to a point where you have nothing to lose. So you put this wild request out there. Most of these people that were challenged with this, they did not get no's. They did not fail. They acted like they had nothing to lose, and they were actually way more
So
successful.
they trusted more by releasing everything.
Yes,
By releasing everything, they
because
trusted more and they put themselves out there more than they would have normally.
because they were challenged to actually fail. And I'm telling you, they were not challenged to fail once. They were challenged to fail 10 times.
Well, that's
That was
interesting.
that was the challenge for them. And they pretty much across the board succeeded
So
wildly.
do it then. Why don't you do it?
Well,
You do it then. I have a hard enough time thinking the positive. I don't know if I can do that, but
so
I see where you're going with it. I think it has value for some people. It does.
well, like if you ask for something that you don't have, okay? You don't have it. You already are at no. So if you ask for something really big, what's the worst thing that happens? You're already at no.
So, I mean, uh, I see your point, and I think it's another way for people to manifest. So
It, it,
I'm going to go big or go home with my manifestation. I'm going to say, but I always say, I'm always trying to think bigger because I do limit myself. So I
right.
see what you're saying. Maybe it's a way to make people think bigger. Yeah, it's like to me, it's like the word shadow. I'm having a hard time, but I do understand it. I do understand what you're saying. I do see it does have value. What are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing because I just shuffled this entire deck of cards and still pulled out exactly the same three cards I just pulled.
So let's go over them one more time, since
Yeah,
maybe
just
that's what needs to happen.
okay. It was coming into balance, being
Hmm.
laser focused, and
Right.
creating your own luck.
Okay. So I'm good with all those cards. Beyond your wildest dreams.
Beyond your wildest dreams.
Beyond your wildest dreams. Better and better. Like that's what I say.
Mm,
When you do a creation, you want to open end it because the universe knows what they can bring you more than we even can imagine.
right.
And I think we're coming up on a full moon. I think the 21st.
Yeah, I was outside the other night, last night, and I was looking up and I'm like, oh, here we go. It's coming soon.
It's good. Good time to release.
Absolutely.
So what else is happening here? So now we've talked about some shadow work. We've talked about different ways of looking at things as far as creating and staying balanced. I liked your perspective. I thought it was an interesting conversation. I don't know if I could swallow it, but I do like it.
So it had me really thinking this weekend with this class that I went to, because, when you're learning something new, you have to build skill in it, um, and then put yourself out there. And as much as everybody focuses so much on putting yourself out there via social media, the latest studies have come out that there are less than 10% of our social media followers on Instagram actually see our content. That was the latest statistics that came out.
I believe that.
And
Mhm.
on Facebook, it's even worse. So that's kind of what led me to even like listen to this particular webinar on becoming your own like PR expert. But I'm I'm at this class and they're really pushing Instagram. Like Instagram, you have to be posting, like, no joke. They're telling you to do a reel once a day and a story every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes. I'm like,
That's
are
a lot.
you are you
Not only
kidding?
that, people are gonna be tired of seeing you.
Well, but that's the thing. People aren't seeing you. Like 10% of your followers are actually seeing you. So on one of my accounts on Instagram, I have like 275 followers. Not much. I've been trying to build this like Instagram following for like more than 5 years. And I have 275 followers, which means if I put something out, I can expect maybe 3 people to see it.
Hmm. Well, I look at everything on a vibrational level. I know that's not the same thing as, the tangible money in your hand or money in your pocket. But even what we've been doing for almost 2 years, it pushed our envelopes to get out here and do this podcast. Now, almost 2 years later, we're more comfortable with it. So I really see the value in that, in the value, and we did it for ourselves a couple times where we'd go on social media. Neither one of us were comfortable with it, but yet we do it. So I think we do these things. It does give us a little bit more confidence, a little bit more comfortable speaking out there.
Mhm.
So I could say yes to that, but I understand what you're saying. That sounds like an outdated curriculum for that class to say that. I don't particularly see the value in them using the Instagram so much. Maybe TikTok.
I don't, well, okay, so we could get totally into that conversation. Like you're going to put all your stuff out there on a Chinese platform.
Yeah.
Anyway, so um one of the things that we did talk about at the beginning of this class was there was this very young woman who just graduated from massage school, and she's been in the beauty industry for a while, doing like body contouring with uh, machines. And this class was a massage technique, but it also results in body contouring. And I should probably be talking about this more. Uh, there are certain words that I'm supposed to use. I'm not gonna get into all of this, right? But she wanted to know, like, how to get the attention of spa owners in the Houston area to be able to offer these new services. And it just so happened that I had like literally just 2 days before listened to that website or the webinar
Okay.
talking about failing, like
Uh-huh.
to say, go in and ask for crazy stuff. Like, I want to be paid this much to use your facility, and I will give you this much of my services. Like,
Worst
ask,
thing happens, they laugh at you, right?
they say no. You're already at
Yeah.
no. So that's kind of where like some of this is coming from. Like, if you're already at no, when you ask and someone says no, it gives you feedback. It helps you refine maybe what you ask for next time. It's a really inexpensive way of fine tuning what it is that you're trying to achieve.
Well, it helps you decide, as Esther would say, when you have contrast, it gives you that what you really do want. So now you're going to see what it is that you do want from feeling
Mm-hmm.
that contrast. But that's an interesting way to do it.
It's just different, right? Just different.
It's different, yeah.
You know, do I have it in me right now to go out and ask for the moon and the stars, knowing that there's a huge chance of the answer being no? No, right now I'm not in that position. 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, might I be in that position? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
I like to talk to myself up and then go. So let's see. Knowledge. This is the card. I said, let me have a little clarity on this. So it's knowledge, getting little. It says seek knowledge. So you get little bits of information, add it to your toolbox, whether it be that feedback that you're getting from letting it all go and asking for the moon, the sun, and the stars, meditation, whatever it may be, you're seeking knowledge. So you can add it in. So that'll work for me. And
I'm glad.
again, I guess to say your basic needs are important. I mean, we say this in almost every podcast, but your basic needs are important before you make decisions. You can't be off kilter and
No,
do
because
life event things.
otherwise it's just knee-jerk reactions. They're not responses, they're reactions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see that all the time. It's not helpful.
That's one of the triggers that we see all the time. Yeah, from watching. So, is that something within us that we can clean and give love, and then it will help us, and then it will help the collective? Maybe.
Maybe. And maybe
Maybe.
maybe sometimes you just need to look and say, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I need a little time out.
Yeah. I'll give you love, and then you can have a timeout. So let me ask you this question. It's a separate question. It's off balance. It's totally different. I was doing something. I was getting a little nervous this week to do it. Something that I should not have been nervous about because I'm like good at it and I know I've been doing it for a long time. I found myself doing what I think is a mudra and it calmed me down, but I didn't know if it was a mudra or not. So I kind of put all my fingers together like this and that's held them like this at my belly button
Yep.
and it just calmed me right down. Is that a mudra that
It
you know
is.
of?
And actually that is one of the mudras that we did at our retreat.
Oh, so
Yeah,
maybe it was my memory. You know this, but I didn't remember
yes.
it. But I
So it's an integration mudra. It allows us the full breath and the movement of energy through the crown all the way to the root chakra and back up. So it is
so
like,
those so for those people who can't see us that are on the audio and not on the YouTube, I'm touching all of my fingertips together, and they look almost like a triangle, and I put them to my belly button. So it must be my subconscious remembered. I'm sorry I
yes.
interrupted you.
No, it's all good. I don't remember
Mhm.
what the mudra is, but yeah, in it's this. Yep.
So I'm glad my subconscious remembered because as I did it, I settled down. I could speak clearly. So and it helped me. So
Yeah, so what
mudras
it
are
does,
they're a good way.
not
Hmm.
only does it bring like the energy all the way down and through, but it brings your breath all the way down into your pelvis. So
Hmm.
typically when you can do nice deep full breaths, it calms the nervous system. Like 3 full breaths like that and normally you're like a new person.
It did work.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
consciously I didn't remember, but subconsciously I remembered. So that's that's a good thing. Do
Excellent. All right, well, we covered
you
a
have
lot of
anything
ground
else?
today.
I think so. Any round any Summaries you'd like to add for this?
So what I would like to say is, regardless of what the labels are that you want to use with your work, continue to do your work. Continue to shine lights in all the icky corners. See what kind of cobwebs and dust bunnies you can sweep out into the light. Look at them, and then get them in the dustpan and throw them out. Not saying they won't
Send them love and
reoccur.
throw them out.
Yeah, not saying that they're not going to reoccur, because we continue to do our work. We continue to need to shine the light inside, so that our light in general can shine so much brighter outside.
I like
That's
that.
all I've got.
All right. So with that, we're going to say goodbye for now, and please keep shining your light.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We'd love to hear from you about your experiences. Leave us a comment below. You can find more information about Lisa and her offerings on her website, 2communicate.net. Michelle's shop is the Violet Butterfly Metaphysical Healing Center in Palm Harbor, Florida. You can find more information at thevioletbutterflymhc.com, including the online store.